So there was a report last week that you met with Jerry Reinsdorf and Pedro Grifol about his job status. Yesterday, the move was announced. You fired Pedro Grifol. Why was the timing of the decision made now when you really, frankly, could have justified making the move much earlier this season?
Yeah, changes like this. I mean, they're you're never certain. There's no perfect time. And I'm, you could argue that it should have been done at this point or this point or this point. We just felt like yesterday was the right time to do this. There are a myriad of factors that go into a decision like this. But yesterday was the day. We've got Grady Sizemore that's going to be the interim manager, and we're bringing up, some other support staff and coaches from our minor league system that are familiar with not only myself, but the players that we have on this roster. So I feel like we've got a really good team of people to get this season to the finish line in a positive fashion. There's still opportunity for us to make strides, whether it be individually, as a team, as an organization, and I look forward to getting that started today with this fresh group.
Were you waiting for the losing streak to end? Was that a factor?
I think we were all waiting for that to end.
To make a move.
How related that was to making a managerial change. It just came to a point where the off day that morning, going to call Pedro and others on the staff, and bring in some new voices, in which we've done so. But it was a painful streak. Anyone that was in that clubhouse watching it, whether you're a fan, an employee, whomever, it was very, very difficult. Now, does that go into the change? Ultimately, it's certainly a factor. I look back at where we went into the All-Star break and came out of the All-Star break, in hopes that we were going to be refreshed and play better baseball, finish some games where we would be leading games and couldn't get us to the finish line, or looking for opportunities to come back late, and we just never were able to get to that point. So, we made the change.
Can you help us, Chris, to understand kind of the hierarchy of the team? What exactly is Tony La Russa's role? How often do you talk to him? And how influential is Tony in your decisions? Is he kind of the de facto Kenny at this point?
No. Tony and I have a very trusting relationship, and very much embodies the advisory title that he has. His experiences are wide ranging in various roles. Sometimes I call him and ask him a question, and perhaps I apply it immediately, or perhaps I wait for a different time, or I just throw it away and move on. So, he's a guy that I think is a positive influence, has been, but in regards to a hierarchy, it's at the end of the day, I'm the final authority on these decisions. I take in different opinions along the way, because that's the type of leader I am. I know I don't have all the answers. So, you got to filter through some of the information that's coming in, and I lean on people within our front office: Josh Barfield, Jin Wong, Matt Koenig, a long list of individuals that are very bright and experienced, and that helps to the decision making. But Tony is an ally, he's a friend, but beyond that, of that Tony is making calls is final say is not accurate. At the end of the day, it's me, and I've got to make the decision on what's in the best interest of the Chicago White Sox.
And as you begin this search, I imagine it's going to be exhaustive and all-encompassing, which I found interesting yesterday, that you seem to eliminate candidates who are not in a major league uniform right now. There are guys with experience, notably Joe Girardi, or a guy like there are candidates out there, Terry Francona, who aren't active right now, that might be guys you want to talk to. Also, it would seem to eliminate popular candidates like Ozzie Guillen and AJ Pierzynski. Why did you take the step of eliminating the kind of guys who aren't necessarily in a major league uniform right now from being possible candidates for the job?
Well, it's still an evolving list, but there certainly is some truth to the pool of candidates we're going to be targeting, and there's certainly truth to people we're going to be targeting people that are in uniform and in organizations other than the White Sox. And I realize there are a lot of bright people that aren't currently with other organizations or in uniform or that are managers that perhaps just out of the game for a year or two. And then you've got the popular names like you listed. But this is a criteria that we've put together, and we're going to start there. I've got a tremendous amount of respect with the people that you just named. And I mean, I look at Ozzie, and I've known Ozzie a long time, and he's I consider him a close friend. He brought me up to the big leagues. He fought for me, and I'll never forget that. And I really enjoyed playing for him. I really care and love the guy, and I know he has been extremely supportive along the way. But I still need to focus on what's best for the White Sox. And as it stands today, we're going to target a list of people that fit the criteria that I believe are best for the Chicago White Sox moving forward.
Chris, is this your hire? In other words, are you picking the guy, searching for the guy, or is it you and no one else making this decision?
Yes, yeah, it's my decision. So I look very. I mean, I can't wait to get to down to work today. We're beginning to get organized with these candidates and get that process started. I think it's just a big day. A big portion of this season now is going to be in preparation for this exhaustive search and getting this team to the finish line to find moments here for our young players to continue to get better and prepare for the following season. So we have a lot on our plate, but I'm really excited to get rolling.
You work in a city, and your opponent tonight, where the Cubs hired Craig Counsell and paid him more than any other manager in baseball, reportedly $8 million a year. The White Sox reportedly are at the other end of the spectrum. How much are the White Sox willing to spend to get the right manager, or is this organization not at the point yet where they can afford to hire that kind of manager for this kind of team?
Well, obviously the Craig Counsell situation with the Cubs is very much a unique one. Craig's obviously very talented, and I know that they're excited to have him over there. When it comes to the White Sox, it's going to start with what's the best fit for us. We start there, and those conversations evolve into more of the mechanics of a contract or anything like that. I'm going in with a blank slate, looking for the best candidates, and you try to work out a deal to bring that person into the Chicago White Sox, but to go into detail in terms of contract length or the amount of money that you're going to spend on an annual basis for that, gosh, I'm just focused on the pool of candidates and getting down to business and finding the right fit for us.
I'm curious, Chris, how do you sell this job to someone? Do you have to? Just because, we're sitting here talking about you rebuilding a team from the studs up. You could argue that you haven't gotten there yet, that the teardown's still on. You got to figure out whether you're going to trade Garrett Crochet. You were shopping him. What do you get in return? Is Luis Robert part of the long-term future? Are you still tearing down here, and how do you sell that to someone?
Well, the vision that we have here, and this goes back to when I was named in the fall last year, in talking to employees that were outside of the organization and recruiting them to come in, and they needed to understand what the process was going to be and what it eventually was going to look like. They had to have a belief in myself and others that remained in the organization, and we were able to bring in some, Brian Bannister, who's one of the sharper pitching minds in this game, and I brought in Josh Barfield, who was a successful farm director, with the Diamondbacks, and others that have come in and help us lead the way. Now, this wasn't about 2024. It wasn't. It was about building something sustainable for the future, and the process that goes into doing that. It's deep rooted. It really does start from the bottom, and it's going to take time to build up. But there are a lot of competitive, bright people that understand that and have watched and felt this type of process be applied and worked in other organizations. So when people look back at their careers, they feel proud to be part of something like this. This is not something that was, just handed to me and all of a sudden we were going to make a World Series run. That's not the case, and that rarely is in our game. If anything, you continue to bring in the best talent that you can to help you in the front office, and obviously when it comes to coaches and scouts and analytic minds to help bring this all together. And as we build this, and eventually we'll get it to where it needs to be, there'll be nothing more rewarding. So, that's the basis of this. It's going to take time. I'm looking for people that are willing to and eager to take on this challenge. And I am convinced that there are people that are going to want to be a part of this.
It's a massive challenge, Chris, because of the role and the job, but also because right now I think the fan base is as skeptical and as negative as they ever have been because of all the losing. And I wonder, this is your search. It's going to be your hire, but obviously you work for Jerry Reinsdorf. We have a lot of questions about what he thinks about what's going on. We don't hear from Jerry Reinsdorf very often. Can you help us understand or relay, how is he viewing this season? And is he aware of just how bad things have gotten? Because I think that there's a sense that he's not responding to what's going on, and the less we hear from him, the more we wonder.
Well, the change was made last fall because of the state of things with Chicago White Sox, and he definitely understands the challenges that we were going to face, he's been very supportive along the way, and he understands the different phases of rebuilds. So, but we also understand the skepticism of our fan base and people that are watching, and those are not going to quiet until we get more wins in the win column. And that's just the reality of professional sports. It's certainly the reality of Major League Baseball. With that being said, I look back at how our draft went and bringing in Hagen Smith and our farm system that's rising towards the top, and we'll continue to likely add to that. And then, you look at some of the assets that we have on our major league clubs, some of these players and the attractiveness and that to perhaps, improve our major league club through future trades. But there is this, a process that we have in place that makes sense to Jerry Reinsdorf, myself in the front office. And there will be a time that we'll feel, the fruits of the labor at the major league level. We hope it's sooner rather than later, but there will be no shortcuts. But when we get it there, it's going to be very special for a lot of people.
It's great to hear that. I think that the problem that people are stuck on, and I'm not saying that you're doing irrevocable damage to your reputation because you're losing, or anybody. Jerry, whatever, but you're probably going to set a record for the worst season ever. And if you look at what's going on here, 100 over 100 losses now, maybe the worst record ever. Is next year 100 losses, or the year after that? What's your timetable on all that? I love the idea of building up the team and everybody going to be good, and we're all going to enjoy the fruits of that labor for years to come. It's just, I got older family members and friends who feel like they're going to die before it happens.
Well, like I said, this is not something that can be just turned around overnight. Do any of us want to be associated to our current record and potential record by the end of the season? Of course not. We traded Dylan Cease, a week or two before the season started. We made moves at the trade deadline. The focus here has been the long-term health of the organization and not just chasing wins for the 2024 season. Obviously, we want to win as many games as we can. We're all competitors. We feel like, when you create a winning environment, that is healthy for everyone involved. But with that being said, we know where we're at. We continue to show up each day and talking to Grady multiple times yesterday and looking forward to getting down to the stadium today. There's always something to play for at the major league level. There is. And, from here on out, we're going to motivate our players. the best that we can. They get excited to show up each day, play for each other, play for the Chicago White Sox. That's what we can control today. While, whether it be myself and other leaders in the front office, okay, how do we not only improve the team that we currently have, but also for the future of the organization? We show up every day and we try to do that. And you stack that many days of that type of commitment, eventually, it'll show up at our major league club. In the meantime, we're going to fight and claw towards the end. We'll get into the off season and try to improve this club the best we can going into 2025.
Last thing, Chris, is tonight's Garrett Crochet's last start of the season, and if not, do you plan to shut him down?
This will not be his last start. So, Garrett's obviously had a tremendous season, one of certainly the bright spots of our club, but also baseball as well. And, we're very mindful of this part of the season as he navigates this late in the year as a major league starter for the first time. But, there are going to be more starts, and, we look forward to watching him pitch tonight.
Chris, thanks a ton for coming on. Appreciate your time, man.
Thank you, Chris.
Good luck to you.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Take care. Good luck.
That is the White Sox general manager, Chris Getz.